Hi there everyone, Jack here again at the Vinyl Voyage. I hope you've all been well and have been listening to some killer records over the last few days. I've been back on the Psych train, melting my brain and my face with killer Psych from the 60s all the way up to present day. Some of the stuff I've been listening to has been new releases, and I'd like to share some of these with you tonight. So we'll get straight into it. The first one then is a band from Sweden. They're called Goat, and I think this is their 6th or 7th album. It's self-titled. But if you're a listener of Radio 6, you've probably have heard Goat before, because the second track on here, Goat Brain, has been played a lot recently on Radio 6. Really cool track. But they've got an interesting backstory. So they say they're from this remote part of Sweden, which was once taken over by a witch doctor. And as a result, this very small town that the band say they come from has this kind of voodoo influence, and it's a bit of a hippie commune. So the band members say that over the years there's been about 30 or 40 members of Goat. It's been like a revolving collective. There's only about 3 core members left, and all these other musicians come in and out of the band as needed. But they keep their identity a mystery. They wear these kind of strange masks and kind of African looking garb. I'll put a picture up here. And yeah, it's all very mysterious, but the music itself is brilliant. It's like kind of mixture of folk psych, of kind of face melting, heavy fuzz guitar leads, Afrobeat kind of Fela Kuti style drumming, and yeah, like really heavy groove bass lines. But it's like a real mishmash of different styles. Yeah, I really like them. I got this off of a friend who sent it to me. An old friend from school. We decided to start buying each other a record each month, a kind of mystery record, and he sent me this. And obviously unknown to me, he was sending me this. I sent him the same record in return. So great minds think alike. He knows what I like, and I know the kind of music he likes as well. But it's funny we both sent each other the same record. But there we go. That's the first one, Goat, with a self-titled 5th or 6th album from Sweden. The next one then, this one is from Holland, and it's called Emotions and Impression of Wonderful, or Impressions of Wonderful. Yeah, this is really cool. This is like kind of 1968 pop psych. There's the Emotions there. So they were like originally a Nederbeat mod group, playing kind of Dutch garage. But this is definitely a bit more flowery, a little bit more psychedelic. That You're My ID is a really cool song. It's on this Nagram label. It's very poppy, very upbeat. This is a Canadian first press. And yeah, just a really cool album. I think easy to get into. There's lots of, it kind of ticks a lot of the psychedelic boxes. I think there's like sitar in here, there's flute, there's wah guitar, there's harpsichord. It's almost like a ticking off a checklist of all the things that make a good kind of flowery pop psych record. That's Motions with Impressions Are Wonderful. Next up then, oh yeah, this is really cool. So this is the Dirty Art Club with their first album called Heavy Starch. Now this was released in 2001. No, sorry, 2011 this was released. But when it was released, it was never released on vinyl, and it only got its vinyl release this year. What a cool cover. It just looks really psychedelic, which it is, but not in the traditional sense, because Dirty Art Club are more of a, there were 2 producers, and basically this album came about. They weren't even a band when this album came about. One of their friends was doing some kind of, was it an art exhibition I think he was doing, and he'd asked for some representative music. So these 2 producers formed Dirty Art Club and put this out. So it's essentially a collection of samples mixed in with analog synths. They're like heavy crate diggers from 60s and 70s era psych, prog, Brazilian tropicalia, and they kind of stitch it all together, use traditional instruments as well to create this absolutely fantastic sound. they're from the USA. They're from Charlotte in North Carolina. Yeah, really, really good. And even though it is, I suppose, like two DJs, it does really sound psychedelic. I think on Discogs, it's categorized as psych hop, not trip hop, not hip hop, but psych hop. But the beginning has some classical kind of prog elements in there. Then there's Astrid's tune. I think that's the one that has the Brazilian Tropicalia. But there's a whole host of, I'll meet you in Brazil, whole host of different genres of music. Liquor and Acid, Sincerely Yours, the Dirty Art Club. It's really, really good. I've really enjoyed this so far. Not the normal thing that I would listen to, but yeah, it's been fantastic. I'm really getting into that one. Something a little bit more traditional then. This is straight out of the 60s. This is Major de los Nuggets, 60s Garage and Psych. Check out that artwork. So this is Mexican Garage and Psych, a compilation that came out for Record Store Day at the start of the year. You've got this Mexican wrestler here. I love that kind of Day of the Dead style artwork of the skull. Essentially, really, this is a covers album. I'd have liked it, I think, a bit more if there had been more original compositions on here, but it's essentially a cover album of 60s standards, so it's got loads of things you would expect. You've got the Los Apson doing Satisfaction, there's the Los Mustangs doing Please Please Me. What else do you have on here? Bully Bully by Los Shanes, My Generation, Paint It Black, 96 Tears, the Question Mark and the Mysterians song. So lots of things that you would lots of standards, 60s standards, but given the whole, I'll show you this vinyl, it's pretty cool. Given the whole Mexican garage treatment, which I like, it does sound cool. So yeah, Major de los Nuggets, the fantastic artwork. Yeah, another cool one. This one is from a couple of years ago, so I think this is from 2020. And Australia, everyone would agree, it's given us a lot of great things over the years. Stephen Dennis, Crocodile Dundee, Mad Max, Ben Rankins. But we also get out of Australia Banana Gun. And they're like a kind of fusion collective. They play, again, bits of Afrobeat, bits of Psych, kind of exotica, and they mix it all up into this like kind of crazy hot pot of flutes, mellotrons, alto saxophone, tenor saxophone, harpsichord, trumpets. Yeah, it's really, really good. I think they're a band out of Melbourne. I got the vinyl quite recently. Full Time Hobby is the label. Yeah, I got this fairly recently, but I've been listening to them since they came out, and I really, really liked it. And I just never got round to buying a vinyl copy. But they've just actually released a new album this month as well, which is meant to be just a kind of extension of their first album, The True Story of Banana Gun. But yeah, really eclectic and a really interesting listen. Yeah, another great bit of Psych out of Australia. Next up then, we have this one. Check this album cover. This is Uzil, Psychedelic, Andelo. It's like Anatolian Psych from a load of Turkish musicians. These guys here, just kicking it. And this dude, these Turkish guys know how to grow a moustache. It's a real man's moustache, that. Not like this poor effort. Anyway, Uzil, Psychedelic and Andelo. Uzil were a company that was set up for migrant Turks who'd moved predominantly to Germany. And I think their base, Uzil's base, was in Frankfurt, I think. But basically this company provided everything that Turks away from home would need. So Turkish food, Turkish electronics, Turkish decor, and they provided everything for the migrant workforce that had moved across to Germany. They also broke out into Turkish music and started their own record label. And I think it began on vinyl and then moved predominantly to the cassette market. But yeah, some of the stuff on here is really crazy. It's kind of late. It's not like late 60s or early 70s. It's more kind of mid 70s to early 80s. But there's lots of strange instruments on here. AJ electrified baglamas, Moog synthesizers. Is a baglama, is that like a kind of bouzouki type thing? But yeah, it's a pretty heavy listen. Some of it sounds a little bit too poppy. Some of the later songs sound a little bit too Casio tone, kind of, I don't know, cheap package holiday in Turkey type vibe. But the late 70s stuff, I think, sounds really, really cool. The more psychedelic sounding stuff. But yeah, something different. Anyway, best enjoyed with a kebab and an ice cold Efes in your hand. So that's Uzil Psychedelic and Andelo. Another band out of Sweden now. This is Dunion. I think that's how you pronounce it. This was the last album, I think, from 2022. It's called... Where's Morten Astad when you need him? It's called N.R. für Meichet och Tusen Aldrig Nog. Something like that. But yeah, this is really, really cool. I discovered Dunion actually at the start of the year when I first started my YouTube channel, and I did a psychedelic video, or a video of psychedelic albums, and someone had commented about the band Dunion, and I think I'd heard of them before. They said, oh, you really need to go and check out this band. They're really, really great. I'm sure you would enjoy them. I think it was neo-psych albums that I had been shown. So I'd keep meaning to get some of their stuff. And a lot of their early albums are very well received critically, but they're quite expensive. And I came close to buying a compilation of their first and second album. I never ended up going for it, and then I got this instead, and this is their last album from 2022. When I read up about it, it said that it was very accessible, it was quite poppy, it was an easy one to get into, so I thought that it might be a good place to start. But yeah, again, lots of flutes, lots of interesting instruments. Yeah, I'm not going to try and say any of these song names. It's all sung in Swedish, but that doesn't, for me, certainly doesn't take away from the enjoyment of the album. It is an easy album to get into. There's really beautiful melodies, and you get a real feel for the kind of emotion behind the songs rather than having to focus on the words. Now, you normally do like lyrics, but yeah, it's a cool album. It's an easy album to get into, and I'll definitely get into more of the back catalogue of Dunion when my bank balance can afford it, because some of their more supposed critically acclaimed albums are quite expensive. But yeah, another good one. Let's see. Oh, this is a beauty. I think I've shown this before. In fact, I'm certain I've shown this before. This is Bruem Mach on the Pils label, and it's German folk psych. Lots of really beautiful acoustic guitars, layer upon layer of acoustic guitar, with, again, really cracking flutes and sitar and the whole host of other sounds. But what I really like about this, they sing in English on this, despite being a German band out of Duisburg in North Rhine-Westphalen. They sing in English, I think, for most of the songs. They could actually be mistaken for a Western, or sorry, a UK band or an American band. You can hear a heavy influence of the likes of Dylan or Joni Mitchell, but the biggest influence with Bruem Mach is without a doubt Fairport Convention. They sound really, really, really like Fairport Convention because they have a female singer in the band as well. Jenny Schuckler, she sings and plays flute, and then got electric guitar from Willie Kismer. There's mellotron, bass, yeah, sitar. Yeah, lovely artwork. I think, yeah, this is from 1970. And some of the songs, let's see if we've got song titles on here. One of the songs is called Lassie, obviously a very, very Scottish word, not a word that you'd associate with Germany. Yeah, Lassie's the second track. Gedanken is the first track. Gitarrenstück, I think that's one of the ones that builds up all these layers of acoustic guitar. In fact, it's Schmetterling, which means butterfly. That's kind of heavier, kind of Psych number. I love that label, that Pils label, so cool. Mushroom. Yeah, really, really excellent. Bruem Mach means crumb machine, and supposedly that was the name for, I think, the main guy in the band, that Willie, is it Kismere? I think it was his motorbike was nicknamed Crumb Machine because supposedly that was the sound that his motorbike engine made. It sounded like a crumb machine. But there we go, Bruem Mach with our self-titled debut. Next up, from 1970 again, we've got Ananda Shanker. This is just self-titled, but this is like a kind of Indian raga slash 60s rock fusion album, and I think it was one of the first albums that kind of fused Indian music with traditional Indian music with kind of 60s rock. It came out in 1970. That's Ananda Shankar there. He was the nephew of Ravi Shankar. It's predominantly sitar led, like I said, with a Western backing band. It was produced, I can't remember his name, co-produced by James Lowe. I think he was a singer with the Electric Prunes. But initially, Ananda Shankar was really into Western rock music, and initially this was going to be a collaboration between himself and Jimi Hendrix, and I think he backed out of it at the last minute because he felt that if he collaborated with a big star like Hendrix, it would just become another Hendrix project, and he wouldn't really kind of receive the credit or get the recognition for the album. There's some great stuff on here. The opening track, Jumpin' Jack Flash, the cover of that's absolutely brilliant. That's probably the best one on it. It's really, really good. There's a decent cover of Light My Fire as well that kind of mixes Moog synthesizers, keyboards, with more traditional Indian, is it tabla and sitar and stuff like that. So even though George Harrison had used the sitar in Norwegian Wood, Brian Jones had used it in Paint It Black, a whole host of other Western musicians had used it in the 60s to augment their psychedelic albums and give that kind of Eastern sound. This was put out in 70, and I think it was one of the first times that an Indian musician had merged traditional Indian music with Western rock, and he was very heavily criticised for doing so. But nowadays, this is quite rightly revered, especially amongst a lot of hip hop producers who have incorporated these sounds into their tunes as well. I know that James Murphy from LCD Sound System is a big fan of this, and English band Corner Shop cite this as an influence as well. A really good mix of Eastern music and Western rock. So that's Ananda Shankar on the Reprise label. Okay, next up then we have a Swiss band. This is Crocodile from 1970 with An Invisible World Revealed. This is really cool. It's got such cool artwork. So they're kind of considered a krautrock band, even though they come from Sweden. They come from Switzerland. For me, I think of this as like a kind of swampy blues rock album played by hippies. So there's lots and lots of cool instruments being used in here. Again, there's flutes, harps, slide guitar. There's a lot of flute. But what's very, very prominent in this is the use of harmonica. There's an awful lot of very bluesy harmonica. Check out these dudes here. Some great female backing vocals as well. But this album comes with a great booklet telling you all about the band. Dude Durst. There's the dude on drums. Terry Stevens, I think he's an English guy. Plays bass guitar, mellotron, vocals. Mojo, it's the Mojo Man on harp and flute and percussion. Some more pictures of the band. But yeah, this is well worth your time. If you like psych, if you like blues rock, if you like kind of hippie folk type stuff, then this covers all bases. So, top stuff. I know that Morten Astad got into this as well. I think he's been enjoying it. It's Crocodile, An Invisible World Revealed from 1970. Oh, it's not 10, it's 11. I've got another one, a bonus one. So this time a Danish band. This is Burning Red Ivanhoe with their third album, WWW. I think this is from 1970 or 1971, so I don't think it's in reference to the World Wide Web. Yeah, this is another beauty. This is like a kind of psych prog album. Love that shot of the band and the inside gatefold. It's really, really cool. Yeah, a lot of these albums I've shown have got a lot of great flute in them. This is more soprano sax, alto sax. It's got some flute as well by Kim Menzer. I really like that first song, Second Floor Croydon, which is really cool. I think it's a song about the hotel that the band stayed in when they played in the UK. Avesvu Kaskalainen. All About You is a really cool song. That's got excellent saxophone in there. It's on that Dandelion label, which was John Peel's record label. Yeah, really good. Like I said, it's almost like a kind of cross between Psych, the outgoing sounds of psychedelia, and the kind of incoming progressive rock sound. Yeah, I'd like to get some more of their albums. I'd like to get I think they've got 2 before this, which I've not got, but really, really good psych prog out of Denmark. It's Burning Red Ivanhoe. And that's it. That's my lot. That's what I've been listening to over the last couple of weeks, and amongst some other stuff. I'm always interested in hearing new sounds. So if you've got any other tips for me, there's a band, there's a French psych band. I always forget what they're called. Is it Slaft or Slaft? Oh, I'll put it up here. I'll go and check it out. But it's like kind of heavy French psych that I've been getting into. I've been listening to on Spotify for a while. So try and track down one of their albums. Is it Umon? Umon's the one that I want to get. It's got like a really cool artwork with this kind of Silver Surfer type guy holding a broadsword. But yeah, until the next time then, I'm going to stop waffling now and have a good night. Enjoy these psychedelic sounds if you give any of them a listen. Until the next time, see you later. Bye for now.